Hello and welcome. I was recently in a discussion with several mentees that came up in TJ High Advanced and then with a few people I was privately tutoring about what is a liberal arts education. We hear the term and either it has some negative connotations and some people think it's hoity-toity and elitist, and some people say, oh yeah, that's the kind of homeschooling method, that's the classics, that's special. But we don't always really know or understand what it means. What is liberal arts education? What does that mean? Where does it come from? So I wanted to dig in just a little bit in at least one paragraph and expand our understanding and knowledge of what a liberal arts education is. So you can get this available online. You can get it as a digital copy pretty easy, or you can find it sometimes at used bookstores or just the one volume. But this is volume 1 of the great book set of the Western world or Western civilization. This is just a semi-long essay on education, on why the classics, why the great books. And in chapter 1, The Tradition of the West, I'm on page 3, there's one or two paragraphs, there's several paragraphs here where he really digs into what is a liberal arts education. What does that mean? What does that look like? How does that develop the mind? Orientation problems. How do you face problems? So there's a lot that we could go into here. And it's really fantastic on introducing the power and purpose of education. But for the sake of this video, we are just going to dig into one paragraph and maybe touch on another one. We'll see if I can restrain myself. We won't go too far into it. We're going to do this one paragraph here on page 3, and it starts with the aim of liberal education. Okay? So follow along with me here. We're going to read through it, and then I want to break it down and unpack it a little bit. It says, the aim of liberal education is human excellence, both private and public. For man is a political animal. Its object is the excellence of man as man, and man as citizen. It regards man as an end, not as a means. And it regards the ends of life, and not the means to it. For this reason, it is the education of free men. Other types of education or training treat men as means to some other end, or at best concerned with the means of life, with earning a living and not with its ends. I can't restrain myself. I'm going to read the next paragraph, but then we're going to unpack that main paragraph that I just read. The substance, I love that word, the substance of liberal education appears to consist in the recognition of basic problems, in knowledge of distinctions and interrelations in subject matter, and in the comprehension of ideas. Oh, this is cool. All right, so now let's go back and look at that main paragraph that I read and break it down one more time. The aim of liberal education. Why does he use aim? So when you have an argument being made, especially by somebody who's well-read, who has a liberal arts education, we have to pay attention to the words that they use. See, sometimes it's worth it to go through and just read this essay and say, oh, that was great, I learned some things about education, or like the Invitation of the Pain of Learning, or the Abolition of Man, or Frederick Douglass's autobiography, or reading a Thomas Jefferson Education. There's a lot of books you can read that will give you powerful insights, teach you a lot about education, why education, and how to get an education. But then there's times, there's paragraphs, there's seasons in life, there's certain sections that jump out at you, or that kind of call your attention, that seem like the main point of the chapter or the book. And that's where you should slow down and do what we're about to do here. Analyze and think about why did he choose that word? What does this phrase really mean? You just read it and, okay, I get it. Education's important. Liberal education, it matters. And it hits a lot of different aspects in that one line. It's the education of free men. Awesome, cool. Let's get educated. All right, but there's times when it's best to slow down and really break it apart. Really think about it. Really join the debate and own it for yourself. Aim. So aiming, you have a bow, you have a gun. It's something that you're directing to a point. You're looking for a bullseye. You're honing in, you're narrowing in, you're focusing in, you're really bringing your intention into one point. You're aiming. And I find it interesting that he uses aim to describe education. Why not purpose? Why not reason? Why not cornerstone? Keep thinking of different parables or different analogies, different terms that he could use to describe the aim of liberal education. Why aim? I like this. This is powerful. So the aim of liberal education is human excellence. That's powerful. That's kind of a big deal. So we don't study to get a job. We don't think, we don't read, we don't discuss to get a job. We may do that. That's not a bad thing. But the aim, that focus, that finite attention, our direction that we're heading is human excellence. Because you can have a job and not be excellent. But if you have a job and human excellence, that's powerful. That's something special. I know, that gets me excited. The aim of liberal education is human excellence. But there's a comma, it's not a period. He continues, he qualifies this human excellence a little bit. He says both private and public. So it's not just this nebulous human excellence, but now he's categorizing, he's breaking it down. So in our private lives and in our public lives. Because we can take human excellence and define it just as what people see. We can look at great men and women throughout history. And on the surface, in some histories, they paint them as these grand, glorious people. But behind the scenes, or at times in their life, they have mistakes, they have faults. They're real human beings. They have shortcomings, they have weaknesses, just like the rest of us. And sometimes it's pretty bad. It doesn't mean that we can't respect them. That doesn't mean they can't be a hero. It doesn't mean they can't be a great individual. But it does mean that we don't want to emulate that part. We want to emulate the good of the private and the public. We want human excellence in all aspects of our lives, in both what people know about us and what I only know about myself. I love this. Human excellence, both private and public. But he doesn't end there. He puts in parentheses. For, it's a mathematical term, meaning because or it follows that man is a political animal. Now this phrase, if you haven't studied much of political philosophy throughout history, this is just a term for your public life. Human beings are communal beings. We work and live in societies. We need other human interaction. Some of us don't like lots of human interaction, and some of us like tons of human interaction. We vary on that, but we all need and rely and depend on human interaction. So man is a political animal. And so we need both private and public. It's not just human excellence in our private lives. We also need it in our public lives because we are naturally communal. We're naturally a creature of society. Now there's the period. So our aim, our focus, our direction is human excellence in our private lives and our public lives. It's both halves to make the whole. Next sentence. Its object is the excellence of man as man. Human as human. You can put woman as woman. And man as citizen. Again, the word choice brings to mind, for one, it's a little bit mathematical because he's writing out a syllogism. He's writing out a logical, reason-based argument for this type of liberal arts education. With this phrase, he's largely repeating what he just said, but giving it nuances, adding depth to it, adding qualifiers to it, making it so it's less nebulous and just kind of generalized, and we can just brush big brush strokes and move on. He wants to really define it in high detail. Because when we get that detail, we can own it. We can really understand it. We can make it happen. We can be intentional about it. So its object is the excellence of man as man, or human as human, and human as citizen. So it's our private and public lives. But it's not just private and public, it's us becoming our ideal self. He seems to say that excellence of man, or as man as citizen, which to me suggests that there's an ideal type of human. There's a human excellence is this ideal, something that we have to work towards. It's not just me being good, and it's me just living my truth and you doing your thing. No, there seems to be this natural law. There's something higher than me and you. There is this ideal of what it means to be human and to be excellent and to be part of a society. Man as citizen. There's an ideal citizen that when I am truly a man, or you are truly a woman, or then we gain that excellence. Then we truly become, or we can become, a member of society that is profitable, that is excellent, that is good. This ideal citizen. It regards man as an end, not as a means. New sentence. It regards man as an end, not as a means. Semicolon, which is kind of like a period separating two different progressions or syllogisms, but connected. So we're going to stop there and look at that for a second. It regards man as an end, not as a means. So an end, what does that mean? If I'm aiming at something, if there's an ideal man, an ideal woman, an ideal citizen, then when I aim for it and it hits, there's the end. If it's an object and we achieve it, we get the object, or we become that ideal object, then that's the end. There's no more. We've reached it. We've made it. So man is an end, not as a means. So if man is a means to an end, if my gun is the means to aiming and getting to the point, if this book is the means for me thinking and understanding ideas, of obtaining a liberal arts education, this is a means. I use it. I bang it up. I dog-ear it. I write in it. I utilize it. I expend it. Man is not a resource to be expended. At least that's what I'm understanding that he's saying here. Because man and woman is the end. This book, this video, the devices I'm using to record this are means to a end. We're going to use the resources and leverage them, but they're not the end. A job is not the end. Excellence is the end. Well, not excellence, because excellence is still the qualifier that goes along with being truly a man, truly a woman, truly a citizen. It is excellence in those areas that makes the end. Because I am a human being right now, but I'm not at that ideal end. I'm not there yet. He suggests man is an end, not a means. Oh, it regards. We forgot that part. What is it? It is a liberal arts education. So a liberal arts education regards man. I like it that now he's turning it into this entity that's thinking and looking at us. Because there are other types of education out there. He says that. There's some other end. There's other types of education that you can obtain. But a liberal arts education regards man as an end, not as the means to be used, to be leveraged. And it regards the ends of life and not the means to it. So there's education of hunting and gathering, of agriculture, of obtaining food, putting it on the table. Those are means to life. Liberal arts education understands that those are valuable and needed for survival and to live and to be prosperous and abundant. But a liberal arts education focuses on the ends of life. Excellence, for example. Purpose, mission, virtue, leadership. diplomacy, courage, abundance. These are the ends of life, the purpose for which we live. Obtaining and eating food is not a purpose in and of itself. It can be encompassed and can be part of a purpose, but is not the ends of life. It is merely the means to existing, to maintaining life. Liberal arts education is focused on the ends of what makes a happy and prosperous, abundant life. For this reason, it is the education of free men. The education of free men seeks for human excellence. It seeks for the ends of life, not solely the means of life. One pigeonholes you and keeps you trapped. The other type of education enables you to open, to understand for yourself, to own it for yourself, to choose it for yourself. Because you understand it and you comprehend it. Because you've dug in with detail and broken this apart and thought about it, defined it for yourself. You own these ideas. For this reason, it is the education of free humans, free men and women. Other types of education or training treat men as means to some other end. This is one of the big struggles with the Industrial Revolution. You got the whole Department of Human Resources to be expended and used for the end of something else, of some product or wealth or power. Now, to say that if you work at a factory, you work on a conveyor belt, or you're somebody's employee, that means you are now a slave to somebody. No, that's not true. That's not right. It can turn into oppression. It can turn into slavery. It can turn into something bad and negative. But it doesn't guarantee. It doesn't mean that. But the training, if you only do the training it takes to do that job or to obtain just the mean subsistence of life, then you're falling into this trap, this some other type of education with some other end. If you don't fill it in for yourself, you're not going to get it. Somebody else can't give you an education. Other types of education or training treat men as means to some other end, or are at best concerned with the means of life, with earning a living, and not with its ends. We need to know and learn and train ourselves on how to produce a living, how to provide for ourselves and those around us. But we miss so much. We lose our freedoms. We lose our ability to choose and to protect those around us if we don't have an education that focuses on the ends of life, the virtues and power of true human excellence, both private and public, both the ideal human as well as the ideal citizen, member of society. The substance, let me reread that second paragraph to close it off. The substance of liberal education appears to consist in the recognition of basic problems. With that education, we don't just do what we're told, but we can see problems. We can see potential solutions to those problems. In knowledge of distinctions, so what is different between subjects and fields or issues or problems? What's the difference, the distinctions, and the interrelations? How are they different and how are they the same? How are they connected? So the distinctions and interrelations in subject matter, in any field, in any subject, anywhere, and in the comprehension of ideas. So just basically generally being aware and able to understand ideas as they come up or as they're offered, as you come across them, as people share them with you or as you hear them on the news or current events. You have the general ability to comprehend these ideas and work with them, make them malleable, discuss them, participate with them. This is powerful. This is good. The liberally educated person understands. Liberally educated person comprehends. The liberally educated person has a mind that can operate well in all fields. The method of liberal education is the liberal arts, which results in liberal education, which is discipline in those arts. This includes reading, writing, speaking, listening, understanding, reckoning, measuring, manipulating matter, quantity, motion, predictions, production, producing, exchange. We are all liberal. I love this. Bottom of page 4. We are all liberal artists, whether we know it or not. We all practice the liberal arts, well or badly, all the time, every day. It's not that this is a special place you go to or you only get in this area. Everybody has, or everybody is learning ideas and thinking these different categories that come together to make up what has been termed a liberal arts education. But this is an education that everybody goes through because it is about purpose. It is about meaning. It is about excellence. It's about us becoming our ideal selves. So that means we are always in that educational process. Now, whether or not we focus on it and really define it, really hone in on it, really aim for it, will determine whether or not we do it well or badly. Will determine whether or not we achieve excellence, prosperity, happiness, freedom, or not. This is cool. This is powerful. The liberal arts are not merely indispensable, they are unavoidable. The only question open to him, and now I'm on top of page 5, is whether he will be an ignorant, undeveloped one, or one who has sought to reach the highest point he is capable of attaining. The question, in short, is whether he will be a poor liberal artist or a good one. Will you seek to obtain great human excellence or not? That's the question in TG Ed for teens, helping you become your best self, the true self. And that process is liberal education. The classics, mentoring, reading, writing, discussing, thinking, doing the work of thinking, wrestling with great ideas. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you can take this and share with others of what a liberal arts education is, what it means. I hope it gives a little bit more of a fine focus where you can aim and make an impact in your life and the life of those around you.